gang violence and other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, and I can still get shot by the police. But I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's a Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's get into the video.
We begin tonight with breaking news. Rochester police confirming one person is dead and another is suffering life-threatening injuries after a mass shooting in Rochester. Good evening, I'm Stephen Pappas. Police tell us at least 7 people have been shot at Maplewood Park. We're told that there was a large gathering of hundreds of people when shots rang out. 13 Wham's Daniel Finkelstein has been live on the scene for the last couple of hours, where there's been a major response from law enforcement. He brings us up to speed right now. Daniel, good evening.
Good evening, Stephen. We arrived here in Maplewood Park to quite a large investigation of what we now know is a deadly mass shooting. Dozens of police cruisers from area agencies responding to help, and investigators combing the area methodically for clues. Now, again, we're told this shooting happened around 6:20 this evening at the city's historic Maplewood Park. 7 unidentified victims suffering varying degrees of injury. One person, described to be in their 20s, was killed.
Another mass shooting. This is coming out of the community, Rochester, New York. And they were in Maplewood Park. So they're shooting parks up. And this is not anything new. We've covered stories like this. But this is just a testament as to how bad things are and how much immediate action needs to come when it comes to the gun violence in the Black community. It's just the reality. You have one person dead, and I believe, if I'm getting my reports right, that actually 2 people have now died. So this is just a mass casualty situation here, okay? With 2 people dead, multiple injured. This is not okay. This is something that we have to address immediately. Group accountability, group acknowledgement. I've spoken on refraining from large gatherings as a community until we get a hold of this violence. I mean, that's a solution. People talk about, where are your solutions? Where are your solutions? Stop getting together in these big ass groups. That will at least, take down the mass shootings. That's something that you can immediately do. But if we don't get a hold of this situation, it's not going to turn out in the way in which we would like it to.
According to Rochester police, no suspects are in custody at this time. Neighbors we've spoken to in the area describing that large gathering earlier, many of them hearing what they described as sounding like firecrackers. People from inside the park then scattering into the surrounding areas. One neighbor saying she's lived here for 7 years and has never seen anything like this.
I looked up and I hear somebody yell, "He's got a gun, run." So we came in, and I was coming through the back door. My husband looked out the front window. Well, we looked out the front window, and there were 2 kids here by our front porch with guns drawn.
Wow.
So, it's kind of like, okay, now what?
Woo! Now that's tough. That's frightening. You got a large gathering across the street, and then ninjas pulling up and sliding on ops right outside of your home. This is a culture shock. This is what creates that white flight that the community is so adamant about pointing out as a systematic, it's a systematic pinpoint of racism is what they're calling it these days. But you have to protect your families. At some point, that's what it has to be about. Protecting your family, protecting your property, protecting the things that you love the most. And you can't live around this type of stuff. So I'm sure that this was another unpermitted event. And that's upsetting as well.
The biggest tip we need are the individuals that pulled out the guns and started shooting. That's the biggest tip we need. And I can guarantee you, with the large number of people that were here enjoying the summer weather on this Sunday, someone saw something.
Yeah, and this brother knows what he's talking about. I'm not sure if is he the mayor of Rochester or something. I don't know what he is, but he knows what he's talking about. He knows that somebody saw something. He knows there are witnesses, but he also knows, since he is a black man, that there is a strict no snitching rule in the community. So unless you have some brave souls willing to come forward, or somebody mama turn them in or something like that, as the saying goes in the streets, let them folks do their job. Let them do their job. So nobody's gonna try and assist in the investigation. Even if their family members got deleted, they might try and get retribution in the streets. That just might be something that happens. That just might be something that the way that they figure it out, the way that they, try and retaliate. And there's not really much trust in the justice system as is in this moment. So we are in some very challenging times as a nation and as a black community.
Enjoying the summer weather on this Sunday, someone saw something. Someone saw something. And there are cameras everywhere. People have their own cameras, there's city cameras, there's cameras all over the place. So we just need
yeah, and there's a lot of footage from the shooting. I'll show you guys as much as I can. There's a video of a woman doing CPR on another woman. It's very graphic. People died here, man. People got clapped. Look, there's a playground for kids, for children. And the black community just can't keep it safe right now. We have to refrain from large gatherings because these super gremlins are on demon time.
Tip, nothing is too small.
One person is dead, 6 others hurt after a shooting at a New York park. This happened last night at Rochester's Maplewood Park. Police say they responded to the park just before 6:30 after shots were heard being fired. They found multiple people shot and one person in their 20s dead. At this point, police are not sure how many suspects there are, but they believe that there's enough evidence out there to help solve the crime.
The biggest tip we need are the individuals that pulled out the guns and started shooting. That's the biggest tip we need. And I can guarantee you, with the large number of people that were here enjoying the summer weather on this Sunday, someone saw something. Someone saw something. And there are cameras everywhere. People have their own cameras, there's city cameras, there's cameras all over the place. So we just need a tip. Nothing is too small.
Rochester's Major Crimes Homicide Unit conducting the investigation.
Hello, thank you for choosing News 8 this Sunday evening. Getting right to that breaking news, Rochester police confirming a mass shooting took place at Maplewood Park earlier this afternoon. 7 people in total are said to have been shot. At least one person in their 20s is dead. Another person is suffering life-threatening injuries. News 8's Gio Battaglia has been on scene all evening. He joins us now live with the latest details. Gio, certainly a lot to unpack here. What can you tell us?
Absolutely, Isabel. Rochester police remain here on scene and will be on scene throughout the night. As you mentioned, one person is dead, 7 people shot in total at today's incident. Now, we want to take you to what the scene looked like when we arrived. Rochester police say they responded to the park just before 6:30 p.m. for reports of a large gathering with shots fired. Several police agencies responded to the park, including Irondequoit Police, Monroe County Sheriff's, Rochester, and New York State Police. And Rochester police did confirm a party was happening in the area at the time of the shooting. Both Captain Greg Bello with Rochester Police and Rochester Mayor Malik Evans emphasizing this is still very early in the investigation and are calling on the community to come forward with any videos or information they have to catch the involved suspects.
A lot of people flee the scene. If something like this happens, first thing they do is jump in their car, they run, they jump in their car, they get out of here, and then they kind of circle back, holy cow, what did I just see? And those are the people that say, that we're encouraging, don't say, wow, I just went through this. No, it should be, wow, I was just there when 7 people got hurt, 1 got killed. I need to call 911.
Yeah, everybody should have fled and went straight to the police. That's what should have happened. They should have fled and went straight to the police. But instead, they coming back around laughing. Damn, that was a movie bit. Like, hey, that shit was lit, boy. When them shot, it was lit till them shots went off. I mean, are we really learning lessons here? Are we going to be refraining from large gatherings? Is there any type of semblance of you saying, hey, I might be next if I go to another one of these events? I don't know. You be the judge. You have to answer that for yourself. But from my understanding, we're gonna start reviewing other reports that there were actually 2 people that died, and both of them were women. So these ninjas are really out here shooting black women, and we don't see Black Lives Matter. We don't see the Protect Black Women protesters out here. What is it gonna take for the community to get angry about what's going on within our own community?
I need to email Major Crimes. I need to call Crime Stoppers, and I need to help them solve this crime, because this isn't acceptable.
This is a tragedy, what happened here today. Early in the day.
So he's Mayor Malik Evans. So that was the brother who was talking earlier. Honestly, he kind of looks like a darker skinned Barack Obama. I mean, this is a failure. And I'm not saying it was his fault, but it's just like, how can you let this unpermitted event go on? There's no way. There needs to be security. There needs to be a vetting process to be able to get into these events. You can't just hold court at a park and then hundreds of people show up in a coordinated effort. I think, and I'm not for like regulating everything, but what's gonna stop this? Unless the cops just drive by and say, hey, there's a lot of people there, maybe we should send some resources over here. That's the only thing that I could think of. And then they're gonna be, oh, well, the police trying to bust the party down. So, and that could get hostile.
We're talking 6:20, when families are out having a good time in the park, and we had this tragedy of the shooting.
And we did speak with neighbors who live on Maplewood Drive. They told me it's normally a quiet area and were shocked and scared when they heard what was going on. Take a listen to 2 accounts from neighbors we spoke to.
Looking out the window, this whole park, which was full of people, is now running for their lives. I had people hiding behind cars, my car, hiding behind a couple other structures, jumping my fence, crying. Just pure terror.
Well, I mean, you see, this is why people are trying to get away from you ninjas. Let's just keep it a buck. You can't just shoot up the place and expect people to want to live by you. You can't do it. And unfortunately, that's what it's come to. In every densely populated area where we're acting a fool. And I think that it's gonna take a huge culture shock. It's gonna take group acknowledgement, group accountability, taking into account, what some thought leaders say. Maybe not me, but I think the best thing to stop the mass shootings in the community is to stop the large gatherings. Now, I know people want to party and all this kind of stuff. It is what it is. The large gatherings are not working in the community. And if you do, then you have to have tight security. And I know people can pay for, we got money. You could put the money together, get security, patting people down before they can come. I mean, I know it's an open park, but I don't see how you're going to fix this. And rest assured, they're going to be right back at the park the next weekend. I mean, it's just something that, what are you going to do?
Well, we looked out the front window And there were 2 kids here by our front porch with guns drawn. So, you know, it's kind of like, okay, now what?
Rochester Police and Mayor Malik Evans again emphasizing anyone with any information or videos to contact 911. Again, any and all tips could remain anonymous. Reporting from Maplewood Park in the city of Rochester, Gio Battaglia, News 8. Isabel, back to you.
All right, Gio, thank you very much for that comprehensive report. Rochester Police and the mayor also say they expect to provide more details come tomorrow morning.
From your breaking news and weather authority, this is 13 WHAM News Midday.
We begin with breaking news. A second person has now died after a mass shooting on Sunday in Maplewood Park.
Once again, I'm asking our community to step up and help us to hold those that brought violence to a barbecue in a park yesterday.
5 others were injured when gunfire erupted at Maplewood Park last evening. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Dan Schrack. That tragic update from police coming in just moments ago. 13 WHAM's Stephanie Joseph is live at the Public Safety Building with the very latest from police. Steph?
Yeah, Dan, we've just learned that 25-year-old Tyasia Manning and 34-year-old Phylicia Council were killed in yesterday's shooting. Now, Rochester police say it appears hundreds of people were gathered at the park for a barbecue when shots rang out around 6:20 Sunday evening. At least 7 people were shot. 2 women were killed, 25-year-old Tyasia Manning, and hours later, 34-year-old Phylicia Council. Mayor Malik Evans sharing that Manning was a city employee, and she was an employee at the city's Carter Street Art Center.
So she was a city employee. Could she have put in a request for an expedited permit to have some type of oversight for this little barbecue? I'm not victim blaming. I'm just saying, I'm proving to you guys that, yeah, we have the connections. We're in the positions of authority. We're in the positions of power. We can get events like this sanctioned and make them safe, you know. But with this heated op culture, crash out culture, you have to check all the boxes off when it comes to safety. You have to make sure that you're watching the perimeter, and any car speeding by to just air the whole park out. There's a possibility of that. That's in play right now in the community.
The 5 other people shot are believed to be a non-life-threatening condition.
Weekends like these put a strain on our community, our families, our first responders, the Rochester community as a whole. I continue to pray for all those affected, and that we can all come together, put an end to senseless loss of life, and bring the suspects from this weekend to justice.
As I looked at that crime scene last night and saw a stroller, people's shoes, our people, our residents should be able to enjoy the summer in a park, period. But all too often, we have individuals in this community that are unmitigated cowards that are okay with shooting women.
Yeah. I mean, he's cooking. He is cooking right now. Everything that he's saying is absolutely true. Right? Now, what is he going to do about it is another question. How's he going to focus on that? It doesn't seem like he's mincing his words or anything like that. I like how straight up he is about it. But is he going to work to fix it? Can he fix it? Or is this task just insurmountable at this point?
And 2 of those women lost their life.
Now, the mayor has ordered that flags be flown half-staff for Tyasia. No one is in custody for the mass shooting. Police are asking anyone with information or video to contact the Major Crimes Unit at 428-7157 or Crime Stoppers at 423-9300. Live here at the Public Safety Building, I'm Stephanie Joseph, 13 WHAM News.
2 women killed, a number of people wounded in yesterday's shooting at Maplewood Park in Rochester. Rochester leaders today saying one of those who died was a city employee. Hundreds of people were gathered at the park for a barbecue before the shooting broke out. Chaos after that. Police are now asking anyone in that group or anyone in general for any and all help to help solve these crimes. Our team coverage starts now with Isabel Garcia, who's been following this story all day. She joins us now live from Maplewood Park with the very latest. Isabel.
Yes, Adam, just truly a tragic weekend here in Rochester. Sadly, we learned today that 25-year-old Tyasia Manning had died in this shooting. She had been working with the city at their centers, at their rec centers, engaging with Rochester's youth. Now, Mayor Malik Evans today, during the morning news conference, ordered all city flags to be lowered to half-staff in Tyasia Manning's memory and in her honor. Now, we also learned earlier, also the mayor today saying that this is something that cannot be accepted as the new normal.
It is very important that people come forward now, today, not to wait, because time is of the essence. The next 12 to 24 hours is absolutely critical.
Rochester City Mayor Malik Evans and Police Chief David Smith imploring the public to bring forward any information, evidence, clues, details which can help in the investigation into a deadly shooting at Maplewood Park Sunday night. 2 women were killed, several others injured. It happened in the 6 o'clock hour Sunday near Bridgeview Drive, where hundreds of people were gathering for a barbecue.
There were babies there. There were people there with their kids. These individuals had no regard for that, and that should concern our community. And we should say that they should be removed from the community.
So once again, I'm asking our community to step up.
But does the community want that though? That's the question. It's a question you got to ask yourself. Because somebody, those ninjas who pulled the trigger, somebody is smashing them dudes, right? They always got hoes, right? Somebody's giving them positive reinforcement. Hey, bro, you a killer. You a real. Somebody's giving them that reinforcement that what he did, there ain't no big deal. Ninjas die every day, B. But you a shooter now. You know what I'm saying? You got your wings now. Like, I mean, it's that serious in the community where you have people who are just... They're adamant about catching a body, and it sounds frightening, and it is, because there's a mindset, a delusion, a hypnotization through hip-hop music and mainstream media that's happened over time in the community, and you know it's a deep-seated issue in the culture. And in every situation, you got to pop something off, or you got to do something crazy or wild to make a point. And that has manifested itself into shooting up crowds of people, women, men, children, at a park.
And help us to hold those that brought violence to a barbecue in a park yesterday accountable for their actions. To hold those that shot into a crowd, killing 2 women, accountable for their cowardly actions.
7 people in total were shot, with several victims arriving to local hospitals by private car or ambulance. Police on Monday identifying the second victim as 34-year-old Phylicia Council. Despite both civilian and first responders attempting life-saving measures on scene, 25-year-old Tyasia Manning also died. She was an employee with the city of Rochester and engaged with Rochester's youth.
She works in our centers to help young people become their best selves, to help our young people get access to opportunity. She was simply at a barbecue.
What I can tell you is last week when I was there and they were doing the activity, everyone talked about how great she was and said, I want you to meet this one because she is really a great worker. The kids love her and she loves the kids.
Truly just a tragedy. The scene here continues to be staffed with Rochester police at various entry points surrounding where the caution tape is over here at Maplewood Park. Now, again, knowing there is plenty of video footage already out there, police and city officials just really urging anyone that has any information to send that directly to them as investigators work to solve this crime. Mayor Malik Evans at one point today says to do it for the victims and to do it for the city. For now, we will send things right back to you at the desk. Reporting live in Rochester.
That's assuming that the community cares about the victims or the city.
Isabel Garcia, News 8.
We're going to get right to the several breaking updates starting this half hour at noon, beginning with the mass shooting at Maplewood Park Sunday night. The chief at RPD and Mayor Malik Evans speaking just moments ago, sharing with us of the 7 victims shot last night, 2 women were killed. Isabel Garcia was at that press conference this morning. She's live downtown. Isabel.
Yes, Brendan, it's just a really heavy tone here today, of course. Police releasing the names of both of those victims from last night's mass shooting. The first one, 25-year-old Tyasia Manning. Now, Mayor Malik Evans says this really hits home for the administration as she was a city employee. He has ordered all of the building flags to be lowered to half staff in her memory. She had worked at one of the R centers working with young people in Rochester. Then we're told several hours later after the mass shooting, 34-year-old Phylicia Council succumbed to her injuries at the hospital. 5 other people also suffering injuries. While life-altering, they are expected to survive. There were reportedly hundreds of people gathered yesterday evening.
And a lot of people don't talk about that either. People who were shot suffering life-altering injuries, whether they can't walk anymore, they can't use a certain limb the way that they used to. Man, I don't understand how we don't have a black coalition against gun violence and or a black coalition against black on black crime or something. I don't understand how we don't have a huge organization like that. And that's something people can get behind and donate to if, you know, the funds are managed right. See, that's a whole issue too, you know, because you have the BLM movement and it could have been something that was good, but the funds weren't managed right. The things that they were promoting were not things that benefited the black community, and ultimately it was a sham.
Around dinner time at Maplewood Park for a barbecue. City officials say it was known to be happening as social media flyers were circulating, but there are certain criteria which needs to be met for requiring permits. Now, what the mayor and chief did both heavily emphasize is that this is something which should have been happening, especially during the summer, a gathering at a local park, people enjoying each other. Both officials say there needs to be a shift of a norm of what's expected during the daytime in Rochester, saying this cannot be accepted.
Weekends like these put a strain on our community, our families, our first responders, the Rochester community as a whole. I continue to pray for all those affected and that we can all come together and put an end to senseless loss of life.
But all too often, we have individuals in this community that are unmitigated cowards, that are okay with shooting women. And 2 of those women lost their life.
Once again, flags lowered from city buildings to half staff in memory and honor of 25-year-old Tyasia Manning, who was killed in that mass shooting last night, a city employee. Now, of course, there's going to be tons and tons of video evidence, witness accounts. Police are just pleading with the community to please urgently come forward with any information as they work to solve this mass shooting crime and hold the suspects accountable. They said, do it for Tyasia, do it for Phylicia, and do it for Rochester. For now, reporting live outside of the Public Safety Building, Isabel Garcia, News 8.
What's good, Shadow Realm? It's your boy Jenquavius Jackson, and y'all already know I'm demonetized and shadow banned in this bitch. So if you want to contribute, go to the Cash App, the PayPal, the GoFundMe, or join the Patreon. Also, don't forget to visit the merch store for all your favorite BGZM News 17 gear, including our exclusive Trump is a Blood t-shirt. Go fast before they sell out. They are already flying off the shelves, no cap. And remember, these super gremlins are on demon time.
And we begin with continuing coverage of that fatal shooting at Maplewood Park happening around 24 hours ago. Hundreds of people had gathered there for a barbecue before shots rang out and chaos erupted. Of the 2 women killed, one was a city employee, multiple others injured. City leaders today urging the public to swiftly provide any information as investigators work to solve this crime. Isabel Garcia has been following the latest developments all day. She joins us now live from Maplewood Park, where all of this happened, with the latest updates. Isabel.
Yes, Adam, just a really tragic situation in what Mayor Malik Evans today said it should have been something that happens here, a summertime barbecue at a community park. Now, just within the last 5 minutes, we've seen the officers take down the caution tape that had been surrounding the perimeter of what was effectively the crime scene here from yesterday's incident. We also learned the names of the victims today as well, including 25-year-old Tyasia Manning, who had died during the shooting. She had been working at the R Centers for the city and engaging with Rochester's youth. Now, the mayor ordering all city building flags to be lowered to half staff today in Tyasia Manning's honor and her memory.
And that's, you know, a sweet gesture, right? But that doesn't fix anything. It doesn't bring Tyasia back. I mean, guys, we have to, I'm going to keep saying this, we need the hiatus on large gatherings in the community. It has to be something that we make a choice to do. Unless you're going to completely secure the venue. But there has to be a behavior change. Because this happens far too often.
Police had initially responded to the area just before 6:30 yesterday for the reports of shots fired. There, officers found several victims, saying, again, a total of 7 people were shot during the ordeal. Some had gone to the hospital by private vehicle, others via ambulance. Several hours after the incident, police say 34-year-old Phylicia Council succumbed to her injuries while at the hospital. Now, Chief David Smith today at the news conference stated the preliminary investigation shows several rounds were fired from multiple weapons, striking the victim. Both the victims. The mayor also says there needs to be really a shift of a norm of what's expected during the daytime in Rochester, adding this cannot be accepted.
There were babies there. There were people there with their kids. These individuals had no regard for that. And that should concern our community. And we should say that they should be removed from the community.
So once again, I'm asking our community to step up and help us to hold those that brought violence to a barbecue in a park yesterday accountable for their actions. To hold those that shot into a crowd, killing 2 women, accountable for their cowardly actions.
Now, once again, that crime scene tape just coming down within the last 5 to 10 minutes here, and it appears that some of the officers are continuing to examine some of the pieces of the evidence that was left behind. Once again, knowing there were so many people gathered, there's a lot of evidence to go through, witnesses too, but police are really encouraging anyone with that information, anything, to please go directly to the police with that information. Again, any tips can always remain anonymous. For now, we will send things right back to you at the desk. Reporting live in Rochester, Isabel Garcia, News 8.
Went on in the park throughout the investigation went on in the park throughout the night and into today.
And Chief Investigative Reporter Berkeley Breen went back to the site of all that chaos.
The crime tape is still up. The park is effectively closed. The city has brought in large light stands in case the police come back here after sunset. There's still all kinds of garbage left over from the party that was here. And when I was here earlier today, the whole area was full of investigators combing through the grass looking for evidence. I counted 14 evidence markers among the trees, lawn chairs, blankets, and coolers. The people who live here told me they've never seen so many police in the neighborhood before. This is video recorded by one of those neighbors after the shooting. You can see people huddled around the victims, police running to the area, a stretcher arriving, and the constant sound of sirens. Peter Nettermeyer returned home to see the chaos after the gunfire.
Oh, it's crazy. Nobody can support that kind of behavior. It's idiotic. People don't shoot each other.
You already did this one, right? This corner one.
The shooting prompted 3.
So, I mean, he says people don't shoot each other, but I don't think he has been to the community because this is not something that is foreign to what we got going on. And it's sad, it's hurtful, but you know, it's something that I have realized will not get fixed unless people wake up and realize what they're doing, what they have supported. Take group accountability, group acknowledgement first. But it doesn't seem like we're close to that right now. So it's gonna have to be corrected systematically. And what that means is the police are gonna have to actually start locking these guys up, and these guys are gonna have to start doing long and hard time because I mean, we are on the precipice of another major crime wave. I mean, I'm predicting it's gonna, depending on how things go, it's gonna get a lot more heated up in 2024. So I think we have a good couple decades left of this type of level of violence going on in the community, but I could be wrong. But that's just my prediction based off of the trajectory of where the data is going, the stories, what the stories are telling me when I do this every single day, guys. I don't see an end to it, and I think we're really at the beginning of a massive crime wave coming out of the community.
People don't shoot each other.
You already did this one, right? This corner one.
The shooting prompted 3 men from Wake 'em Up Ministries on Lake Avenue to go door to door within sight of the crime scene.
We're praying for you as your community.
What kind of reception do you get?
There's been a few people who've come out. They look a little hesitant or afraid, right? And that's to be expected, but they seem to be grateful.
The shooting brought out more religious. Reverend Abby John is the pastor at the Episcopal Church of the Ascension on Lake Ave. He came to pray over the park and for the victims.
We are a free nation, and we believe in freedom is offered to everyone to live and to express and to gather and to celebrate life. But when such instances happen, the very fundamental right of living is questioned.
Reverend John told me that what this neighborhood experienced.
I mean, you got a lot of, we had a Hispanic activist, we had a white activist following him, a lot of religious groups coming out. You have an Indian man coming out and speaking against the violence in the community. Where are the black pastors? I mean, we saw the black mayor, the Obama clone, Malik. Where are the black pastors out here condemning the violence? I mean, we need to get our ish together as a community, because these super gremlins are on demon time.
Sunday will be part of his sermon next Sunday at Maplewood Park. Berkeley Bree News 10 NBC.
Around 6:20 this evening, we responded down here to Maplewood Park for the report of a large gathering with shots fired. Our officers arrived down.
What I tell y'all about these large gatherings, I am rarely wrong when it comes to these things, man. I really am. Like, I can see the danger, and it's just a no-go for me.
Scene, we located multiple people that had been shot. Total, what we accumulated between people that were transported from the scene via ambulance, and then also some people were transported by private vehicle and arrived at hospitals at other points throughout the night. It appears we're at, again, tentatively, because we're still in a very preliminary stage, tentatively it appears that we're looking at approximately 7 people that have been shot here at Maplewood Park, and at this point, 1 is fatal. So the fatality that we do have is an adult that's in their 20s. I'm going to hold off on any other identifying information, whether it's male or female. I'm going to hold off until we can work through notifying family. I know we're in the process of that now. So at this point, we do have 1 person that is deceased. We have approximately 6 other people that are being treated for a variety of gunshot wounds, all the way from at least 1 is in life-threatening condition, all the way up to at least multiple of them, my understanding is, are dealing with kind of graze wounds, relatively, in the scope of things, relatively minor injuries. So again, our major crimes unit is here, our technicians unit is here. We're working our way through, starting to process evidence, starting to look for different videos. I'm aware of a few videos that people are posting online. We encourage, rather than posting them online, to send them to us at majorcrimes@cityofrochester.gov or RPD tip line at cityofrochester.gov, calling 911, calling 311, speaking with our investigators so we can get as much information to our investigators. The social media is great. Online videos are great. Online accounts of things that have occurred is great. But unless we get those straight to our investigators where they can act on them quickly, that's the best way for us to work towards solving this case quickly. So at this point, we don't know how many people we're shooting. We're trying to work our way through that. We're trying to work our way through as many witnesses as we can. So we encourage, this is very early. This happened 2 hours ago. So we encourage anybody that has any sort of information of what occurred here, any sort of video, anything on who decided to, at a Sunday afternoon where everybody's out barbecuing, having a good time, decided to pull out a gun for whatever reason, whether it's a dispute going on for, short-term, long-term, whatever it was, somebody that pulled out a gun. Obviously, that's incredibly unacceptable.
Yeah, it is unacceptable, and we have to realize in the community that nobody's gonna save us but us. And you can't just be negligent to this issue. A lot of people want to put this issue away. We're not worried about it, but it needs to be confronted
in our society. So whoever has any sort of info, even if you think your info is, what you have is so little, reach out, because even little pieces help us solve these cases. So we encourage anybody with any sort of information, big or small, call 911, call 311, call Crime Stoppers, email us, majorcrimes@cityofrochester.gov, email us at RPD tip line at cityofrochester.gov. There's the Report It app that we have that you can make anonymous tips to us as well. So we encourage anybody with info. But again, to circle back, we're looking at tentatively 7 people shot, 1 fatal, and again, we're working our way through. And we'll be able to provide more information as the night goes on. The chief is here. He's working his way through the crime scene. And again, as we get more information, we'll be able to put more info out.
Any information on the suspect?
Yeah, and again, that's what we're trying to develop. That's the information we're trying to learn, and that's why we're encouraging anybody who does have that information, right? Like, Brad, if you have that information who the suspect is, please help us out, because that's what we're looking for in these early stages.
Is it a one suspect you're looking for or multiple?
It's too early to say. Okay. It's too early to say. Because what happens is when we're dealing with a big field like that, we're looking for ballistic evidence first, right? We're looking for casings, things along those lines that can help us to identify.
Yeah, to develop how many shooters there are, right? Sounds a little familiar, right?
In a big field like that, it's going to take us a while to work our way through finding any sort of what's evidence of this shooting versus what's there from a party occurring, right? Your plastic cups, your glass bottles, all that things, your barbecue supplies, all that stuff that's normally there for a party. So now we're looking for video to sort through, okay, what's evidence of this shooting and what's party stuff of people that were here having a good time on a Sunday night.
So to that end, I've heard a couple people say that the suspect might have been wearing like a white tank top, red shorts. Are you looking for something?
Yeah,
like
so
that?
we've got a variety of different descriptions, and that's the whole thing. So we've got a variety. We've got 1 person, we've got 3, 4 people, right? Different varieties of things, and that's what our investigators do. People have lots of different perceptions of what they saw in front of them. You and I can watch the same thing. You're going to have a version, I'm going to have a version, and then somewhere, the reality of it, somebody pulled out his cameras in the middle, because we all have predisposed perceptions, right, that we work our way through. And so that's where talking to all these different witnesses, we're going to come together of what actually occurred here. And we're only 2 hours into it, so we're still working through talking to witnesses. We're still working through trying to find video. And that's where this quick, a lot of people flee the scene. Something like this happens, first thing they do is jump in their car, they run, they jump in their car, they get out of here, and then they kind of circle back, holy cow, what did I just see? And those are the people that say, that we're encouraging, don't say, wow, I just went through this. No, it should be, wow, I was just there when 7 people got hurt, 1 got killed. I need to call 911. I need to email Major Crimes. I need to call Crime Stoppers. And I need to help them solve this crime, because this isn't acceptable. Does that make sense? All right, cool. We good? Yeah.
Was this a book give back event?
A what?
Was this a book bag give back event?
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of, no.
Is the public safe?
So we're not aware of anything outside of this event, right? Things appear that some sort of incident occurred here. At least one person pulled out a gun here and fired shots here. We're not aware of anything going on to the neighborhoods or anything else around that.
Is this considered a mass shooting?
So depending on what definition you want to use, if you fall under the federal definition, yeah, it definitely. Well, the city doesn't have a definition of that. The city doesn't define each crime type, but sure, yeah, you could definitely call this a mass shooting.
Yep, it's a mass shooting because the FBI defines a mass shooting as 4 or more shot. So there you have it. He says the city doesn't define it as a mass shooting, but he's standing on it saying, yes, it was a mass shooting. So for all the people who give me flack for saying, unfortunately, it doesn't bring me joy to say, I say this every time, but unfortunately, black men are the face of mass shootings in America, because by the FBI's definition of mass shootings, it's 4 or more shot in one setting. And we have a lot of those going on in the community, whether it be drive-by, gang shootings, whatever it is. It falls under those, classifications as well. Yes, it's a drive-by, but it also can be a drive-by mass shooting. Yes, it could be a gang retaliation, but it also could be a gang retaliation mass shooting. Do you guys understand that these terms may have their umbrella terms and they may overlap in ways? And this officer just confirmed, yes, that this is a mass shooting. Okay.
But the city wouldn't call it that.
I'm saying right now, as RPD, we would consider this a mass shooting. Yes. We good? Cool. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, so I do have some video from the scene. We're just gonna play this really quickly.
Tragedy strikes in upstate New York as a mass shooting at Maplewood Park in Rochester has left one person.
Not the Indian Express reporting on it. Lord have mercy.
Dead and at least 6 others injured. Rochester police responded to the scene around 6:20 p.m. yesterday, where they discovered a large gathering and multiple victims suffering from gunshot wounds. According to
And I mean, it looks like they were trying to do CPR on a woman with gunshot wounds. That's not quite how it works. But
Greg Bello, an adult in their 20s, has been confirmed dead, while another individual is in critical condition. 5 additional people were hospitalized with less severe injuries. Authorities are still withholding the identity of the deceased victim.
Oh, dude, this dude right here looks high as hell.
Pending family notification. Several police agencies, including the Irondequoit Police, Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Rochester Police, and New York State Police, have converged on the scene. Captain Bello indicated that a party was taking place in the park at the time of the shooting, but noted that the number of shooters is still unclear. Police are currently interviewing witnesses and reviewing evidence. No suspects have been apprehended at this time. Authorities are urging anyone with video footage or information to contact Major Crimes, Crime Stoppers, or call 311 or 911. Rochester is approximately 340 miles northwest of Manhattan.
So we've got more footage. So they start firing off quick. All right, now they're just breaking down things we've already broken down. I have dash cam footage of when the shots rang out, so I want to play that. Now, from my understanding, if I'm not mistaken, this is not dash cam footage from a police officer's vehicle. This is dash cam footage from, a citizen vehicle who, probably is a tech. I wouldn't say tech nerd, but somebody who's tech savvy. They got a dash cam on a nice car. That's something you do when you have a nice car. You want to play back your drives. I mean, that's something. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's a guy thing or a car thing, whatever you want to call it. But I think he captures these moments.
Oh, they about to start shooting.
Yep.
Running, just running.
Yep.
They shooting.
Yep.
They shooting. They shooting.
And you see, I mean, you got a lot of people dodging and moving and dodging, but it's people laughing. They already knew something was gonna pop off. People start walking away. Like, the community is well aware of how these things happen and how these ninja moments escalate extremely quick.
Oh, they about to start shooting. Just running, just running. They shooting. They shooting. They shooting.
Ooh. Wow.
Quiet. I gotta get out of here. Watch out. Nick! I gotta get out of here.
Woo! Pure chaos. Wow. This is how these things unfold, guys.
Oh, they about to start shooting. Just running. They shooting. They shooting.
Wow.
They shooting.
And this is the back camera.
I'm in a mix. Quiet. I gotta get out of here. Watch out. Nicky.
Woo!
I gotta get out of here. Nicky, hop in. Nicky, hop in. Get in.
Yo, these little niggas bugging.
Hurry up.
I hopped in the car.
Get the in.
Yeah, I literally just seen you. In the car. Just make sure ain't nobody in your way, man. These little niggas just went this way. Where you at?
This is, this is amazing footage. I'm not gonna lie. She talking about these little ninjas just went that way.
Yeah, this is the little nigga that was shooting right there.
See, I'm telling you, these people get a rush from this. They make it out the shooting right now. They made it out the shooting.
Yeah, this is the little nigga that was shooting right there.
And you heard the brother. Oh my God, he sound more concerned than a woman. These super gremlins are on demon time.
Gang violence and other kind of violence. So it is what it is.